Welcome to week 6. So at this point, you already have a marketing system that should be generating leads for you, and you have a strategy for how you're going to price the project when you're doing your sales. So it's time to talk about how to actually sell to these leads. Now, if you're most freelancers and designers that I know, probably you might hate that stuff and you struggle with it, and you're definitely not alone. Most freelancers hate that. And so in this video, I want to talk about why this happens and how to kind of shift your perspective around it so that you stop struggling with it, or at least you're on the process of getting out of this struggle. So there's actually a quote or something that I heard that says, if you don't enjoy selling, it's because you're not getting the results you want. I actually heard this from Grant Cardone. I don't know if you know him. He's kind of like a famous salesman that a lot of people don't like because of his personality, but he really knows his sales stuff, and I learned a lot about sales from him. And this just made sense for me when I read this. It was kind of a quote that says, if you're getting no, you're lacking the no. He basically framed it in a way that says, look, sales is just like any other craft, just like your design, just like your development. It takes a lot of time to learn how to do this properly. And a lot of times we might think to ourselves, oh, I'm not good at this, or I hate this. But it's just like when you're getting started with design or any other kind of craft. At the beginning, you might be frustrated that you're not getting the results that you want. And, I'm sure that you can probably relate to this, looking at other people's amazing portfolio and being frustrated that even though you know how to recognize an amazing design, you can't easily do it yourself. And it's very, very similar with sales. You know what the results look like. You know that you want clients to pay high prices. You want them to accept the deal and be happy to, happily sign the deal to work with you. But the real question is, have you invested the effort of actually learning this craft, right? You're here learning right now about business, and you've probably invested in learning how to design, but you've never actually took the time to really invest and practice your skill of sales. So that's probably why you're not getting the results you want, because you're lacking knowledge and practice. So I want you to shift your mindset to understand that this is a craft just like any other craft. It takes a lot of practice. But once you do this, and I'm going to share some of the knowledge with you, I'm going to give you the framework, and you're going to put this in action, and you're actually going to practice. And then you're starting to see yourself improve. And then you're going to start seeing the results you want. And you know what will happen? Once you're starting to see the results, you're actually going to start loving this. And I'll be super honest with you. I love selling. I love closing deals with clients because it gets me excited. I'm happy to see that they are excited to work with me. So I really love this, and I hope that by working on these things, including the knowledge and the tips that I'll share with you this week, you're going to be on your way to love sales as well. Now, there's one thing that you can actually do to make life easier on you, and that's creating trust or high trust even before you start the actual sales cycle. Okay, because when you have high trust, people will just buy from you. And if you think about this, the easier sales that you have, or the easiest sales that you have, are from people who already super trust you, maybe like your friends or family, or people that really, really trust you well. Other people don't have such a high trust, and that's why you need to kind of convince them. But when you have high trust, things are much easier. So here are some things that you can do to increase trust before even the sales begin. Okay, so in the next video, we'll jump into talking about sales. But right now, these are things that you can do before the sales to make life easier on you. First of all, build trust into your website, and you do that by putting things like testimonials or all the credentials that you have. So think about anything from what schools you went to, if you won some award, what clients you worked with, or anything that can serve as something that would build trust. Put that stuff in your website. Now, the next thing is, when you create videos, okay, content in general you can write, but video is amazing because it lets people see who you are and see how you talk and think, and that really helps to build trust because it helps people understand how working with you is going to feel like. So it doesn't mean that you have to open up a YouTube channel. That doesn't mean that, even though it can be a good idea. But if that's not your marketing channel, you can even just put one video, maybe even in the About page in your website, where you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your process. It doesn't really matter what the video is about, but just that people see your face and see how you communicate and see your personality. That can help build a lot of trust, okay? Because it's just like meeting you. And meeting people in person can really increase trust. We'll talk about that in a second. Now, if you have some kind of a mutual friend, whether if you find that out on the call while you're looking at their LinkedIn or Facebook page, while you're getting on the phone with them and you find out that they went to school in a certain area. If you have mutual friends, that's immediately a way to build trust. So if you have that can be, if you can figure that out before you're going into the sales with them, that can be pretty helpful. And of course, if you've met them in person or engaged with them before they before they went into your sales cycle and you kind of try to close them as a client, okay, if you had some kind of interaction with them in person or online, that's going to help build trust. So that's in general just means, keep interacting with people, whether it is online or by going to event or meeting people, because each one of these people might at some point become either a potential client or a mutual friend. And so you want to kind of build trust with everyone around you. So those are kind of general things that you should keep in mind before selling to people. Now let's talk about actually how to sell.